Thank you. You are with Breakfast coming up to 8:15. Thank you for your time. This is complex and important and interesting. Digital currencies and the technologies that surround them are highly complex. We've heard of Bitcoin and Apple Pay, but how do they actually work? And what would we gain if we introduced our own one, a digital New Zealand dollar? Well, for a start, it could help our SMEs who spend a huge amount of money paying the middlemen or women who process card payments. And of course, there's public health benefits from digital rather than physical, as we've seen with payments under COVID-19. In fact, there's so much potential. The Reserve Bank recently advertised a role focusing on the future of cash and digital currencies. It could be a game changer for businesses, a chance to play the level playing field and take some of the profits away from banks. To help us understand more, we've brought in digital assets expert Jerome Faury. Morena, Jerome, so nice to have you with us. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, John. I'm well. I just hope we don't end up in a rap battle. You had some pretty good lyrics there.
I know. So you have to answer all your questions in rhyme. Jerome,
might
be
do this
great.
later on at night after a few beers, and
Jerome, can we talk about what the hell digital currencies are? So let's do a 101 for our viewers. First of all, on what they are and why this is important.
Sure. I think, currency or money is just a medium of exchange. Typically these days it's a faith-based system. In days gone by, 8,000 BC, it was a barter system. If you had 6 chickens, you could trade that for a sheep, or for 3 bushels of grain. Then that grain sort of got paired up with metals, and people, I think in about the 13th century, they used to go to the goldsmiths who would store their gold in Venice, and they would write a paper receipt. And then what happened is that paper receipt ended up being currency and used as paper money as we know it today. And over the course of the last 500 years, generally a country has been the holder of the global reserve. And all we're doing now is we're evolving that money from being a sort of a paper-based system to one that's electronic. And the way I look at it is it would be similar to posting an international letter 20 years ago, as opposed to sending an email now. It's just an electronic representation.
Jerome, it may have been in prose. There was not a single rhyming couplet in that explanation, but it was fantastic. It was beautifully explained. And so one of the things that digital currency does is it removes the middleman or the middlewoman. And let's talk about what are the costs of credit cards, for example, to retailers. How much of the ticket is being clipped between the credit card coming out of someone's purse or wallet and the money ending up in the retailer's bank accounts?
Yeah. So the average amount would be around 2% of the total ticket size. It varies depending on the type of merchant you are. So a large merchant that does lots of volume and lots of value typically has what they call a strategic rate, which probably best case scenario, the wholesale rate on that is 50 basis points. For a small business, it's typically between 2 and 3% of their transaction. It's increasing by about $216 million a year. I suspect that's going to increase even further now that contactless has come in as almost a mandatory requirement now for retailers. A lot were sort of withholding the need to support contactless, as it takes what was a free transaction on domestic EFTPOS and turns it into a credit transaction that has fees associated with it. And it's costing business about $1 billion, a year, roughly.
So it's costing business $1 billion a year, and those of us who use credit cards know that we're paying usurious interest rates on them, still peaking at around 20%, which is outrageous given the OCR is less than 1. So, in other words, if we can eliminate these damn things, it's good for everyone, isn't it?
I think so. I mean, I think their unfair advantage is their ability to do electronic transactions. I think once you have a digital currency, and I can send currency to you like an email or a text message, there's no reason why I couldn't go to a cafe and scan a QR code on the payment terminal or point of sale and send to that cafe owner directly some digital New Zealand dollars. It doesn't need to go from my bank to their bank to a credit card scheme and back again. It could be done in real time. At the moment, a bar that takes a credit card at 11 o'clock on a Friday night doesn't see their money until Tuesday morning with most of the banks, the exception being ASB. It's just not good enough.
And so, forgive me for being really basic here, but I think those of us who don't understand it need this explanation. You're doing a fantastic job. So if we have something on our phone and we scan it, where is that money coming from? How does my phone know I have the money to pay the bill at the bar as you've described it? I'm not giving more power to creepy old Apple, am I?
No, look, I mean, and that's where the trust and faith comes in. So how does internet money, something that is arguably intangible, have the same trust as something as paper money, or a card for that matter? And Visa had the same issue. When they launched the Visa card in 76, the biggest issue they had is how do people trust that this card is money? And so they did a whole lot of marketing and said, just think of it as money. It really is simple, and actually I've set up a New Zealand dollar for producer Miranda, and I was going to send you a digital New Zealand dollar last night, but I could show you. It's just in your mobile phone as an asset. You click it, it then gives you the ability to send it to someone else directly, or to send it to a business. It's very simple.
And so, Jerome, the Reserve Bank is now seriously looking at this. So can you explain to us, you've done a lovely job of looking back and explaining where we stand, but where do you think reasonably we are heading?
Yeah. Well, I think money, there's a couple of things. Money in the future will be smart. It will know where it is, where it's been, and where it's going. It will also be able to be codified for compliance. So at the moment, roughly 30% of a bank's cost is in compliance. You can codify digital currency to have the compliance built into it. For example, you could say that for any transaction in New Zealand over $10,000, both parties need to have been KYC, know your customer. That doesn't mean that I need to know that you are John and that I am Jerome. We can both have privacy in a transaction, but we can actually ensure that the compliance requirements of the Reserve Bank are met within the currency itself. So I think that's kind of where the thing is heading. I think also there's an umbrella called a digital asset, and there's different types of currencies. There's ones like Bitcoin, which are cryptocurrencies and decentralized. And by decentralized, I mean there's no Bitcoin company, there's no CEO, it's not owned by anyone. It's just an open system, if you will. Then you have a central bank digital currency. And that's what China is looking at implementing at the moment. They're probably the leader in this space internationally currently. They're doing a central bank digital currency and electronic payment system.
Jerome, absolutely fascinating. I can't remember the last time I learned so much in a single interview. So I think we'll go to the Reserve Bank and discuss where we're heading with this, but we're so grateful for the 101 on digital currency. Jerome Faury, what's your company, Jerome? I just think we should give them a plug. Who are you?
Centropay, www.centropay.com. We have a digital asset platform, and phone number 021 Jerome if anyone wants to know.
Go, Jerome.
Nice, mate. Love it.
Thanks.
All without having the opportunity.
Thanks, Jerome. Lovely to meet you.
Cool. Thank you.